Okay, tape is rolling. Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in to our program, Mirror of Our Times. I'm so happy to have in the studio with me Big Will Hammond and my co-host here. Thank you for
A.B. Richardson.
coming in, A.B. Richardson. And we're going to talk to Mr. Hammond about who Mr. Hammond is. Now, Will, who is Will Hammond? Tell the audience.
Well, first of all, thank you very much, Ken, for having me on your program. You know, we've been doing things for a long time. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So, I'm the son of Ruth and Bill Hammonds, first and foremost. Grew up in San Francisco, you know, so I'm one of the few still here. You know what I mean? 60 plus years, I can say, and I'm proud to say, can you make it one thing? Huh?
No,
You got me.
I'm right with you.
Okay, but it's good. So, but you know, studied San Francisco. Went to Frederick Burke. Just to give you a real quickie, Frederick Burke was adjacent to San Francisco State.
Oh wow!
So and so during those times, that's when the strike and all that stuff was taking place. I was in elementary school. We would go up to San Francisco State, and you know, go to the radio and the media department. We go swimming and stuff like that.
Oh
right?
wow! Yeah.
So a quick story, and I didn't realize it at the time. He was in the 5th grade, and me and a couple of my friends, we decided we wanted to go up to see the Black Studies, the Black Student Union. This is during the strike. All the stuff was going on. We didn't know. We was just some 5th graders.
Yeah. Oh
So
wow!
we at lunchtime, if you walk through this little corridor, a couple of places, you on the campus.
That's right.
So we walked through the corridor at lunch, went on up there, we rolling around, some 5th graders,
Yo,
no,
bold.
with nobody.
Bold.
So we found our way through the union. We glimpsed in there, then headed on back. We got back, and the playground was empty.
My goodness.
Class was back in session. So we went back inside the class. First thing they told you, they want to see you at the office.
Hooky.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Hooky.
But you know, that was just the first kind of experience. That got my first touch into this media thing. And then, lo and behold, I ended up going to San Francisco State.
My
I
goodness.
went in through the Upward Bound program. I cut high school
Man, upper
to go
bound.
to start State College.
Wow.
So
What, you
then
didn't go to high school?
I went to high school,
Yeah.
but I cut high school to start college. I hadn't
wow.
really said nothing to nobody. I was doing something on my own. We went to get to Upward Bound. They told us you can get some money over there. Huh?
USF.
So we cut school
Yeah.
to go to Upward Bound to
That's
get
right.
in
Oh
first.
wow!
Right?
Yeah.
Then got in and got, you know, stipend, this, that, and other. I went in as an electrical engineer, but after I got there, that's when I got into the television and media world. And I've been there ever since.
Wow! You got
been
in
great
the
to
media.
see.
A lot of stuff.
Great to see.
Yeah, you got in there when was it black? Was it color when you got in there? Was it still black and white?
Well, both. We had black and white cameras. I had a 3-camera system. Well, what happened once I got in, I became the equipment manager
Oh,
for
wow.
the broadcasting.
Whoa.
They were just starting this news program, you know, creating their news, and so they needed something. So a freshman,
Yeah.
got that.
Golly.
Right.
You got
So
in.
now I know I'm winning the equipment. I'm the one checking the equipment out.
Yeah.
Right? So I told they formed an organization called United Black Students in the Media. And so I told them I arranged to do a shoot at the College of Alameda. Right. So I went in there, got this equipment. You remember Jerome?
Oh, yeah.
That's where I met Jerome.
Yeah,
right. So
right.
we got the equipment, rented the truck. We drove out there to Alameda.
Oh,
and I
okay.
gathered some of the other people that was in the organization. We came out there. We did our little thing. And the first thing this guy told me, his name is Doug Jackson. He's a big wig at Columbia Pictures now.
Columbia. Wow.
Oh
He did.
wow!
So he said, he came in, he looked at me, he said, man, how did you get all this equipment? I would never try to do that. And I looked at him with, what you mean?
What you
And
mean?
when he told me that,
Yeah.
it was the word go ever since. I didn't stop. Every weekend I would have equipment. Now this is
All over
before
the place.
Cam, all that stuff
Yeah,
was
Cam,
popular, right?
right,
I'm talking
right.
about 79, 70.
Right.
I got there in 77, 8, 9. right?
That's
Right
when
in
they
there.
were
Pioneer then.
Man.
They had tape was
Tape
on the
was
reel.
on the reels.
Was
It was
on
on
the
the
reel.
reels, and
Yeah.
then the cassettes came in, then the beta came in, and so on and
Right.
so forth. So
Mini
I was
DVDs and
there,
all that crap.
starting to create. I was trying to do music videos before Michael Jackson.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to do all that kind of stuff, but so anyway, but I understood what the media was all about. Once I got that education, knowing the power of media and television, I'm in it for the long haul.
You in it to win it.
All the way
That's
to the
it.
end. This is a valuable,
Commodity.
powerful,
Commodity.
commodity, product, whatever you want to call it. It's got a strong value to it, and we need to use it more in better ways than we do.
Right.
Amen.
Which is why you
Amen.
guys is doing what you do.
Yeah,
Right.
I want to get back to your experience. Now, in those days, was it easy to set up the camera? Because I remember the tape was 2 inches thick, and
That's
You know,
The
what you
reels,
know
the
about-
2-inch reels, they had
2-inch
2 inch, then they
was
went to 1
broadcast.
inch broadcast.
yeah,
525 lines,
Okay.
the resolution. If you didn't have that, you wasn't
Right.
getting on the air.
right. Now, did you ever work in broadcast station?
Well, not a broadcast station. I was a little militant, right? So I'm thinking I don't want to go work for the white
White
man
people.
and
Yeah.
all of that, and which was, if I had to do it again, I'd
You
go
probably
there
would.
Right,
to
and get
learn,
the
get all the knowledge, and be the spook who said about it up,
Right.
right? You
Right.
know. So anyway, but they had that stuff at San Francisco State, the reels, and we were putting all that stuff together, making all that stuff run and work. So we got that information. I never forget when they came out with the video disc. You remember them?
Oh,
They was
yeah,
about the size of
man.
an album,
Huge.
about this
Yeah.
big.
Oh, yeah.
Man, they had the dude came in and did a demonstration at State. He took the disc, threw it on the floor, jumped up and down on it,
Is that
break.
right?
took it back and stuck it in the machine, and it
Couldn't-
played like
couldn't-
you know.
couldn't
Oh,
break
I'm
wow.
like, wow, this is
Yeah.
great. This is
Wow.
incredible.
Couldn't break
But
it.
you know, so I got some stuff going. I started checking the equipment out through the Black Studies Department. I have to
Wonderful.
give all my
Wonderful.
props to them.
Wonderful.
McGee, he was the head of
McGee, man.
Phil
yeah.
McGee. You remember Phil McGee?
Yeah, man.
So him, over the Shaka. I mean, a lot of those
Oh, to
instructors,
Chaka.
all of them.
Oh,
They,
over
when
the
I say I
Shaka,
went to
that's
check out the
Yeah.
equipment, huh?
Is
Yeah,
that right?
yeah.
Back in the day,
Oh, yeah.
man.
Holy cow.
And so they did that. They would come down without question and sign off that equipment. I get that equipment and I'd be gone for the weekend. As long as I brought it back in one piece, I'd get it the next time. And at that time, I was getting it from Ed Tech and not from the broadcasting department. I was out of that position, but I learned how
Yeah,
to
you
get
know
the
how
equipment.
to
So
do it.
Let me
and
just
then
ask
I
one
would go
question.
around do interviews all over the place.
So you were up there when Hayakawa was there and the Black
But-
Panther Party
well,
and all that stuff
I was
went
at
down?
elementary then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Was that
that's when I went up there. We was exploring.
Oh, wow.
That's when that was going
Oh,
down.
okay.
Fifth grade.
Yeah.
Oh,
I cut
okay.
school in fifth grade. Didn't know. We weren't trying to leave school. We just trying to,
Just trying
Oh,
to
okay.
find out stuff. Oh,
So
man.
I ended up, and so from there, I guess I stayed in the broadcasting stuff. I went to KMTP.
Yeah, I remember you there. You
Okay, and book
you were
away.
programming that with Book Away,
Yeah.
and tell us about that. I remember
Man,
you
so
producing shows in there.
KMTP is a
Not-
broadcast
it was a broadcast channel.
Yeah, it's a broadcast channel that was owned by KQED.
Right.
It was KQEC before,
Right.
And
Yeah.
then, so what happened, they let it go dormant and dark. That means they wasn't using it,
Right.
right? Booker Wade and some other people challenged their license. You're not using it, we want to take it. So they had to go to court. And then what happened, KQEC and KQED said, well, okay, we're not going to challenge them. But if they drop it, we get it back.
Yeah.
They didn't drop it.
They
It's
didn't drop it.
still
Boy, that
Still
was
going
that was
on,
the
right?
good decision.
It's a public broadcast station.
It is.
It wasn't PBS.
Right.
You got to pay $1 million at minimum a
Just to
year
get that license.
just to have that license to be able to get that stuff. So
Oh,
they
wow.
wasn't doing that. So they was a public broadcast station and one of only 2 African American controlled public broadcast stations. The other one was Howard University.
Now, what
My
happened to
goodness.
that? Because I
It's still
looked
up.
at it.
They running.
It's-
Yeah, they
it's-
still running.
But it's all Chinese now.
No,
But-
you're talking about KMTP.
KMT.
Yeah, no, it's not all Chinese. They got some Asian programming for sure, but they
Right.
still have DW, Dutch of Wella. They got that, and they got NASA.
Oh,
They got
okay.
they pulling that in. So he understood how to
Make it work.
acquire programming at a low cost to help keep things going. It's a nonprofit. It's a non-commercial. So there's some limits to what you can do and how you can raise the money. So
Mm-hmm.
he's facing with that, but they've still been in business.
rolling.
When I started with them, I started up at Sutro Tower. You know that big
Yeah,
old tower you can
right.
see from anywhere in
Twin
the
Peaks?
Crossway? That
Twin
one.
Peaks.
I was
Them
in
Twin Peaks,
I was all the way down at
folks,
the bottom of it.
Wait, let me tell folks, those of you watching, when you go out your house
Mm-hmm.
and you look at Twin Peaks, you see them antennas up there? That's where this man was working
I
at.
was in there.
And I remember that, you know, man. And anybody couldn't get in there.
No.
You gotta
You
have
still can't.
permission.
You
Yeah.
gotta have, you
got-
gotta
you
be
got-
given
license.
access. You have to be given access to go up in
Yeah.
that building.
Yeah.
It's federal property
Property.
because it's a broadcast signal.
Yeah.
That's controlled by
Emergency.
FCC.
Yeah, wow.
So you
Office
just
of
can't
Emergency
wander up
Service.
there
Yeah.
and do
Oh,
anything.
man.
Yeah, so you got
Yeah.
paper. You got
I
paper.
went there. I went there for years, and I was putting the programs in, pressing the buttons, and make stuff go. At that time, they were on from I think 5 to midnight, so it wasn't full time. But they were on 5 to midnight, and after midnight, you know, it used to be. Remember when the Star Spangled Banner would come?
Oh,
yeah.
At the end of the program at night, them days is over with. They
I
just
forgot about why
you
they
see?
stopped that.
well,
Oh my
they
goodness, that's
stopped it
going
because
back.
they learned they could make money all night long.
up.
So we got
up.
to turn the signal off for somebody gonna pay for this time.
Oh, wow.
Started buying, spending money on that time. So
My
you know,
goodness.
but
man.
that's how that went. And then I tied up with Oakland First Television with Charles Chuck's Orgy. I was running that. That was during the time Soul Beat was
Soul
on the air.
Beat.
Oh, yeah.
Just
And
getting
Soul
going.
Beat.
Yeah, and out of San Francisco, Chuck
Yeah.
Johnson and them props
Yeah,
to
Chuck
him.
Johnson.
Talk a little bit about Soul Beat.
Soul Beat.
Well, Soul Beat,
know.
Chuck Johnson is the one who
Created
started
that.
and created Soul Beat, and he was in radio for quite some time.
Yes,
That's
he
where
was.
he started out, and then he moved into the television business. He was on Channel 20, KM Chemo 20.
Is that right?
Remember that?
Yeah.
KMO.
The dance channel.
The dance channel, yeah.
Yeah, I
Because
remember
I think his show was before, because Jim Gabbard
Jim
bought it
Gabbardy.
later.
Okay.
Jim
Right,
Gabbardy, yeah.
but he was on that. Then he moved to Oakland, got on cable, and started doing Soul Beat before MTV
Yeah,
and all
before-
that other
right.
stuff. Soul Beat was the first one
Right.
to do
Soul
And
Beat
they
helped.
was in the Westmont Mall. It was
it. Eastmont Mall, that was one of the places they were in, but yeah, Eastmont Mall.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
But Soul Beat was the one that helped the blacks like Michael Jackson,
That's right.
that Snoop Dogg dog.
Yeah.
Oh, is
I
that
mean,
right?
because MTV would not let
Wouldn't
them
play.
on.
That's
They wouldn't play them.
Oh, wow.
So they saw them on Soul Beat,
Yeah.
and guess what? That's how they
Everybody
got on
They started
MTV.
playing. That's how, they protested, whatever, but that's, essentially how it got done.
Then
Yeah.
what about Willie Brown and Elihu Harris and
Well, LSU
KDIA?
Well, the KDIA, so, our part in controlling media was more prevalent before Bill Clinton,
Mm.
and that changed the FCC
FCC
rules, whereby you couldn't own but so much in a particular market,
Mhm.
right? They changed that, and then you could own a bunch of them in the same market. When they did that, it crushed
Crushed
black
black
radio.
radio.
Black radio was the main way we were getting the word out. It wasn't so
Wow.
much TV; it was radio.
Yeah.
You remember? What was
KGIA.
it? Yeah, but there was the Greyhound. What was it? Remember, so and so did the Greyhound report.
Oh, yeah. Just
Right?
that guy. He
Yeah,
always,
yeah. So I mean, that was the way
Yeah.
news information was being spread. So once we lost that, and organizations like iHeart and all the
iHeart
big
Radio and
organizations,
all that.
they took over
those licenses.
the licenses and bought all kinds of stations and all that.
Bought
To
it.
the degree that right now today, iHeartRadio owns something called the Black Information Network.
Yes, they do.
Can you believe that?
Yes, they do.
They're in San Francisco.
That's right.
But who is iHeartRadio?
Big time
iHeartRadio
radio
is a
station, man.
Big time company.
Big
It was
time.
part of I think it was an offset
Records.
of
Is that Willie Brown? And
No,
no,
man,
of,
no.
Oh, who-
Clear Channel. It was part. I think it was a Clear Channel. They cut off some deal with Clear Channel. So you know Clear Channel.
Is that a black?
No, sir.
No,
It's not black owned at all. No, and that's what I
The
look
name
like.
of it, what?
It's iHeartRadio.
No, I mean.
It's called BIN, the Black Information Network. Now, what I look like,
Holy cow.
starting the Jewish Information Network. You think they would let me do that?
You know they wouldn't. Come on.
But here's the real insult. They came into town and had no respect for the black press. They didn't go to the Sun Reporter, the Bayview. They didn't go to the Post. They didn't go no place to say, hey, you know what? We coming into town. You guys, the black, media.
Come on
We
with
want
us.
to let you know. We're gonna do some advertising with you and let you know, hey, we coming in town and being friendly. You know how they got started and when? A George Floyd.
Oh my goodness, they took all that from
They
us.
took advantage of that and created a
Well, we
network
need to
called the
go.
Black
We need to
Information
try to
Network.
meet with them and.
Well, this is what I'm saying. But this is how it gets back to the power of the media
Media.
Yeah.
and how important it is for us to control and tell our own stories. If we leaving that to somebody else, they're gonna tell it the way they want to.
That's
Okay,
right.
Okay, well,
That's right.
what are you doing with all the skills you got? What are you doing to counter this?
So what I'm doing, I've been an independent person for a long time, doing stuff on my own, getting programming. I was on KMTP. I still do sports shows, sports fans rap. What I do is I produce, some programming and put it out. Now to the fact now that I have an app, right? You get on your cell phone, we're on the smart TVs, all that stuff. Urban Advantage TV.
Urban Advantage TV.
My son.
Is that the that's your title? Yeah,
Yeah, that's the company, but that's the name of the app that you can go on your smartphone or your smart device, your TV or whatever, and download that app, put it on, and you can see some of the programming that we've created. And so to the point now that we've joined together with other black media organizations, particularly in the San Francisco Bay Area, and forming a group, a union, so we
Of black media.
of black media, and that we can
part of
share
that too.
programming. Yeah, that we can share programming and distribute programming that we are control of. I'm not for giving everything to YouTube and Facebook and all them other places. They're making
whatever.
plenty
They're
money,
making money.
and you ain't making a dime off of what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right? They're taking advantage of you and your content. So I think it's better we can use them to point them from there to us. Why give everything to them and
We
so
ain't making nothing.
this is what we're talking about. So it's time to as black media producers,
Right.
we come together, form some groups and some collaborations and take a stronger position as media professionals delivering, quality product, information, content, all of that.
So let me just say this too, and that's what this station's doing here for public access.
Mm-hmm.
SF Commons. What they do, they have utilized the black producers.
Mm-hmm.
You remember Dangerous George.
Oh yeah.
Going way back to Queen Bee, to public access television, and so they have. This used to be more in control by blacks.
Yes.
And the black producers.
True.
So what they have done is stepped into the black producers' role and have taken it over, and it's less and less more blacks at the leadership role. And so what you're talking about doing is what we need to do and be responsible for our own content, and they're making money off our content by getting grants, by getting support, by having relationships, by getting their word out. This is the Bay Area Video Coalition. We're glad that they did that. But it's time, as Will said, that Urban Advantage, he's been there, done that. Ken Johnson also with the Mirror on Our Times, and I do San Francisco Community News, form our own black, I didn't say mixed up or nothing, network. And we look forward to you at the helm of that.
Well, I will do my part. That's what I can say. And it goes back, I mentioned it in the meeting that we had the other day. It's a man by the name of Dr. Frank Green. Look him up. He was the one that made the super chip.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
High-speed chip out of Silicon Valley, all that stuff. But we have been working with him, Donald Lacey, myself. He was an angel investor, in fact. So he brought us into this group.
My goodness.
And we were doing some work with him. But anyway, he passed. But before he did pass, he passed on some information to us in terms of what the formula for success. And he called it VRE, vision, relationship, and execution. You form the vision, the visionary forms a vision. You make the relationships that will put forth the vision. That's people, places, and things. Those are the relationships you need.
This is why this program is on the air right now. Using those three letters.
VRE. So you got the vision, you got the relationship, and then the execution. Everybody does what their part.
Mm-hmm.
You execute on your part.
That's it.
Do your job.
The main thing, folks, is we want you. We need to start telling our own stories, start making our own movies, and that's what we are about. This program here is just a talk show, and we're looking forward to doing some dramas, some television shows, and coming up with some commercials and stuff, so we can make some of that money, so we can hire our own and give our own skills that they can.
You said two key things. A film. It is now time for the Black Film Festival.
That is.
Yeah.
June 19th through the 22nd.
And there's also time for Juneteenth coming up.
That's coming up on the 22nd, I think. There's the
22nd, is that the parade? That's the Sunday.
Parade, yeah.
That's the Sunday.
Yeah. That's the
And
parade.
so you see, also it's time for Urban Advantage TV. That's what it's all about here today. If you have funding available, at the end of the day, you're always saying you want to help communities. Those out there that see a dying race, that is the Black community. It's a dying race, not only in the Bay Area, but across America. And what's going to save the Black community, I believe, as Will just put it, is the power of the media. So that's why we are forming this coalition. And talk a little bit about the Heritage Center opportunity to have the Urban Advantage television.
Well, I'd like to say a little about the Heritage Center, because that building on Fillmore and Eddy was built for the Black community. It was built for us because of the destruction of redevelopment and urban renewal and all that. Everybody knows, have seen those films about what happened to the Fillmore. So they built that building to try to revive the Harlem of the West. Or that building gave the community hope, because everything else that was all, the Black community was like a Market Street on Fillmore at one time. You didn't have to go down to Market Street. Everything was there. You didn't have to go down to Market Street. Now, today, there's nothing there. I mean, there's a few, 2 or 3 jazz
Black
clubs.
businesses.
Yeah.
2 or 3 Black businesses.
Black businesses there. And there's no traffic. So what we're trying to do, what we like to do, is get that building back open, and starting slow, but start doing things, especially the screening room. Doing this show here, there's a room that's called a screening room. It's got about 50 seats in it, and a big screen in there, and we could start there shooting the shows we do here, do them there in front of an audience. Now, where we are now, there's not room for an audience. Just this background that you see, and in front of us there's cameras and a little setup. That's it. You can't have an audience in here. But there we can have an audience and get people involved in doing shows such as interviews or whatever. Of course, you never know who's in the community who can do a show like you or better.
But then, like you're saying, Ken, too, you have to work with those that have done it.
Yeah.
And Will Hammon has done it. See, experience you cannot beat.
Mm-hmm.
No one can deny someone that has the educational and mind purposely in tune to the community's needs. And this is where Urban Advantages TV is now. We're rookies compared to the gentleman next to
Right.
us.
Y'all been
So
doing it for a minute.
We've been out there, but he's surpassed us and
Yeah,
moved
he
on.
has.
But you know, one thing about our community, they don't reach back and come and get you. They just, once you're gone, you just gone. But he's reaching back into the community and saying, wait a minute, this is a powerful tool I have designed to help the Black community, all communities, and I'm willing to step up to the plate and take the lead. So we need to meet with Mayor Leary. These programs, this should be sent to Mayor Leary so that he gets a clear message on what the Black media needs from San Francisco, what the Black press needs from every politician throughout the state and the federal government to help us save the black community.
You could put that Urban Advantage TV right inside. That could be one of your studios.
Sure.
Right inside the Heritage Center. We have our own security company. We have everything we need except the space, and we need to talk to the new mayor about that, or
Daniel Liver.
Daniel Lilly.
So he only got a few. Or you want to give him some closing remarks?
you
He took
wanna-
the time out to come.
Yeah, you want to have.
Well, let me just say this.
Don't get out of the picture. Though.
Okay, yeah, let me just say this, that in terms of what we need to understand about media, and this is part of why I'm in it. And they talk about programming, right? Your favorite program.
Yeah.
You know about that. You got one?
Yeah.
Favorite program?
Yes.
Right. Well, the fact is programming is not what's coming on TV, it's what they're doing to you.
That's it.
That's what the program is all about.
That's it.
The program, they tell you that it's programming. So it's not the program that we putting on, that's a part of it, but it's also the advertisers that we got just making it go, right? So all those things, because they're putting these ideas in your head. Anytime you look at it, it's putting an idea in your head, and then you process it how you process it. Some people might process it into reality and go out and do it.
Right.
Some people might say, oh,
Right.
that's just a show and this don't, or whatever, but it's going to have an effect on you. So just understand that, and understand that it's important for us to tell our own stories and be in control of that. So I want to thank you, gentlemen, for allowing me to, a few minutes on your program, and just Urban Advantage TV, get the app and get in touch with us, and we'll be making some things happen. We're looking for you to join us and work with us. We want to work with you.
Thank you so much. And he said that the bottom point, Ken, is subliminal
That's it.
programming. You don't even know when you sleep. If you're listening to a radio, you could actually wake up and do exactly what it said. It's brain and mind control. And it's good to have people that love you or care about your background and past to help you get subliminal programming messages. And I'll leave it up to Mr. Johnson here to close it out.
Thank you again for watching, folks. And like I always say, just don't sit there and be a college potato. Get involved. Really get involved.
That's
because
right.
we need you. Thanks for watching.
Can we shake all your hands, brothers? All for one and one for all.
Hallelujah.
Thank you. Amen to that.